Yeah, hi. So in the previous video we were discussing how we have to write the ingredients object so that we can give all the information of ingredients, the quantity and its unit in a single object. So let's create a new object in the objects directory. We'll call this as ingredient info. Okay, so we'll export default. Name is ingredient info. Title, this is ingredient info. I'll just make it lowercase, and yeah, ingredient info, and the type is of course object, as we will be embedding this in our document, recipe document. Now the fields. Now the first field is the ingredient that we will be referring to the ingredient document object. So a document schema. So let's name it as name because it is the name of the ingredient. Title is name. Then the type is reference, as we will be referring to the ingredients. Now each ingredient, this is going to be for one ingredient, like this. So we will not use array. That is why we have not used array, because we are going to refer to just one item. We need just one item from the ingredient document. So we will be referring to type ingredients it is. Okay, now this is not complete. We'll just see what we are getting there in the recipe in Sanity Studio, what we'll get. So we'll just quickly add this in the schemas info, and we'll just add it here, and I'll go back to the recipe and I'll create a new field for the ingredients. Even for our objects we do this, right? So we'll come here and name is ingredient. Ingredients, we'll keep it because there are multiple ingredients. Then over here we'll just title, we'll just say, yeah, it was supposed to be lowercase, and let's say we keep the type as ingredient info, and we'll see what do we get there. So over here you can see we can select one ingredient, but nothing else. Okay, nothing else. I think it is not published. Basil we did not publish, that is why we are getting this error. If we okay, we have to, we'll correct it later, but for now we know that okay, we have over here, you can see if it is highlighted it is published, but because it is not published we are getting this. So yeah, so we'll just maybe delete this one. We can go here and delete. Okay, so we have this basil. If we go back to, yeah, over here we'll just replace with one ingredient that we have, so this is fine. Now the thing is, this is not sufficient for us. First thing is we should be able to add multiple. We can't have just one. So in order to make it multiple, we should make the type cannot be this. It has to be, type has to be array. That is the first thing we should do. Second is whenever we have the type of array, we have to give, it has to be of what type. So array of what types, we can have multiple types basically. So over here the type that we will be referencing to is basically ingredient info. So over here you can see that ingredients and meal type both are of type array, but in the meal type, when we provided the value for the off, over here it's an array of type reference to meal type document. We are not doing the same over here. The reason is meal type is a document, it's a type document schema. So if we reference to meal type, it will give us the data from the meal type document. But if we do it here, ingredient info is not a document, it is of type object. We can even try it once to do exactly the same what we are doing in the meal type. I'll just try to show you why we are not putting a reference. Okay, if yeah, type reference, and if we say we are referring to, yeah, so now this is similar to, sorry, yeah, so now this is similar to meal type, where we are saying that for the meal type it was type was reference, so it did not hold its own property, its own value. It was referring to some other document, the meal type field. So over here let's try to do the same and see, because over here we were referencing to meal type document, but over here we are saying we are referencing to meal type info, which is of type object. If I come here and okay, yeah, now if I try to add item, you can see it says reference to ingredient info. Now there's no value, there's nothing to refer to, because ingredient info is not a document, it's not of type document, it is of type object. So that is why we can't use reference here. Our type, because an array has to we have to let Sanity know that what type of objects will be inside the array. So over here we are saying it is of type ingredient info. Now ingredient info, inside ingredient info we already have the reference for ingredient. So now if we go, now if we add item, so over here you can see, yeah, we are referring to this is the ingredient we are referring to. Now over here you can see we have a name empty. So the reason is until this time we were referencing to to type document schemas. This is, I think, the first scenario where we are referencing to an object, and over here the object that we have, that is ingredients info, it is again a reference. So by default it will be mapped to any of the field which has a name. So because we want the ingredient, in the ingredient we want the ingredient name, I mean it will have all the information about the ingredient, sorry, the ingredient name we want, and we want the other fields that we want is the quantity, the name is title is quantity, and type, let's put string, and okay, 1 second. Now if we come back and over here, let's just remove this and add it once again. So over here let's say I'm putting 3. Now you can see because we have a field with the name with the type string, the object is it is displaying that name, but our quantity is not string, it has to be a number. So if I just change it back to number, and if we come back here, so let's just remove and add it back, and let's say 3. So you can see again we don't have any proper label here. So I'll show you one more way how we can show the ingredient name, and if something else we want along with the name, so how we can do that. But first I'll try to complete this, because for an ingredient we want the name of the ingredient, we want its quantity, and we want the unit as well. So for the unit it will be unit. Now over here we are referencing to the unit, this document type unit, because we have already created another document which will have maybe hundreds of units. So over here we will not put it as a string, we'll just refer to that document. So in order to refer, we will, our type will be reference, and 2 will be for type unit. So for unit it is fine. And one last thing is that I thought we'll add one more field, a string field for additional info, because let's say the ingredient is bay leaf, okay, so basil leaf, then the quantity is 2, unit is 3 leaves, like bay leaves, 2 leaves. Now we want additional info, maybe we can say it has to be dried, or it has to be clean, or something that we want to put in. We can put it in the additional field. So here we'll say additional info, and then we'll just make it as a string. So I think this is fine for the to represent an ingredient. I'll just remove this and we'll add a new. So here you can see when we want whichever ingredient we want, we'll say basil 3 unit. Let me add a unit, 1 second. I will add it from here. We'll say leaves. Okay, so we have put a restriction of 5. We'll quickly make that change, because I think 5 is very less. We'll keep it 10. Okay, so leaves, description is number of leaves. Okay, okay, so yeah, we were here. I'll just add it, leaves. I think we published it. Okay, if I come back, so we will update it. So we have leaves and additional info, maybe we can say dried. So yeah, now you can see it is referencing to the string that is dried, but this is not giving us good information, because if we just want to have a glance on any of the documents, so it does not give much information. So we'll see how we can improve the look of an object so that we get some information before without actually going inside and looking at, okay, so the name of the ingredient was basil, but from the outside it was nothing. I mean, it did not say basil. So we'll see in the next video how we can create a preview of an object so that we can very easily see what is inside the object.